John Rondi, welcome back, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. The coolest podcast studio I've ever not only been in but seen on camera. I'm not lying. I wish you guys could really experience this.
Dude, I love that. I appreciate that so much.
Man. Yeah.
It's so funny when people say that to me because I always explain it this way. You ever gone to a friend's house, he has a pool, and he's like, I never go swimming?
Right.
It's one of those things,
Yeah.
like, I never really go in my studio. I never really appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
So when people are able to come in from the outside and tell me,
Helps you appreciate it more.
hell yeah.
You should sit here and just talk to yourself all day.
Yeah.
You'll
dude.
get great eventually.
I was thinking about even live streaming because I'm like, live streaming is going crazy. It'll give me an opportunity to interact with my guests.
Dude.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to set it up in the future, but let's jump straight into it.
Let's do it.
I wanted to ask you, what's something people assume about your life right now that's completely wrong?
Whoa. What's something people assume about my life that is completely wrong? I think people assume, and I hate to say this like that, it's easy making content. You know, like anything that's really, really successful is relatively hard. And I say relative because what's hard for building a brand online is not hard to somebody else that's working with their hands all day, right? So I never want to say that like it's labor intensive and it's a grind, but it's something that you have to work on every single day, and it doesn't just like poof out of thin air type of thing. So working with family is very difficult. You know, I think people see our dynamic and they think like, oh, they just pop out and they have so much fun together, and we do, but like we're like this, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of times where my dad and I are in disagreements and we're arguing, and it's with your family, so you're very quick to jump on each other. So we definitely have learned in the last 6 years how to work with one another, but in the beginning it was tough. There's plenty of times where we almost stopped doing it. And again, you would look outside within and be like, why would you ever stop doing that? It's probably great. And it is great, but there's plenty of moments where I'm like, wow, there's no way we can continue this.
Yeah, I could completely agree because I actually work on this with my father as well. Not on my podcast, but the business. And dude, it is hectic. Like you said, when you're working with family, you're way more on top of each other. You're way more willing to attack each other for whatever it is. Don't get me wrong. We have a great relationship. I love my dad, but he also could piss me off just like I piss him off sometimes too. And it's different when you have an employee that pisses you off or you have a good friend that pisses you off. When it comes to family, it's just a fine line of how far you guys go. Yeah.
And the son will always get the short end of the stick when it comes to like other people, right? Like, so if they catch us arguing on camera, they're not saying that dad is being mean. They're going to say that son doesn't appreciate what he has and he's yelling at his dad. And like, they don't know the dynamic that that's just how we speak to each other sometimes. Yeah. And it's not that we're breaking up or whatever, but yeah, you'll always have to take a step back and be like, all right, let me calm down. Let me always make sure that on camera, he looks like he's right and I'm not trying to overstep the throne type of thing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I love the relationship you guys show on camera and then also the relationship you speak about on the podcast because it just shows what reality is, you know?
Right.
It's not just hiding, oh, yeah, me and my dad are perfect. Like, no, you're open about what a real relationship looks like.
Yeah, it's a balance, too, because you don't want to expose too much realness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, we argue, but I would never want to catch him in a bad light and be like, yeah, dad, you see that? I'm gonna prove you wrong and look how nasty you look. Or like vice versa. There's plenty of times where I'm a dick to him or somebody else. I have free will to post whatever I want, right? So if it wasn't captured live, I'm not gonna go out there and expose myself. I know like some of the banter is fun and I'll talk about it being real. And people always say like, oh, we want to hear the real side of things. No, they don't. They want to see like what they think is real. It's kind of like when guys say, I like a natural girl. You don't like a natural girl. You like when she has like dulled down makeup, but you still like something pretty, you know?
Yeah, I completely get it. Do you feel more comfortable and in control now or less? Because I see a lot of people, they grow on social media, but I feel like sometimes you might lose control. You might lose sight of what's really important, and it might get a lot harder towards the finish line or what you perceive to be the finish line than it was in the beginning where you could just be free and posting what you like.
That's a really good point. I mean, I don't think I lost control as in like my audience dictates what I do. I do think it becomes a business. So, but for me, like it was always a business for us, you know, like it wasn't like this fun. And that's kind of the cool part about working with a 60-year-old man is that he wasn't doing this to like goof off and have a good time. And we do have a good time, but we never lost sight of why we were doing this. So like, look, if our audience says, hey, make food content or like do this, we'll do it. I don't feel like I'm losing control because I want to provide the content you guys want to watch. And so does my dad. So I think there's things that change, like goals change, and there's plenty of highs and lows of, you have these spikes where you feel like you're on top of the world. And then there's some moments where you feel very like mundane and you're not moving forward, or you had a lot of cool moments in the past, but there hasn't been too many cool moments in the present, and you don't see any in the forecast. So that starts to creep in sometimes. But I feel like now I'm at this like equilibrium where I know a bad view period is not leading to a bad view year or whatever it is. I don't care like about the little things anymore. Yeah.
Was there ever a point where you let the views control and dictate how you were feeling in the moment?
Dude, I wouldn't go out. I swear to God, like in the beginning when you thought that's all that mattered and you really didn't have a crazy foundation, maybe you had like a couple 100,000 followers, and you go, and every time you went viral, it'd be like, oh, whew, thank God. You know, like you could relax now, but then you have to go viral again and again and again. Plenty of times where if I would go viral 10 times in a row and then that 11th video would flop, I'd be like, I'm out. This is it. I got to go find a real job. Dad, pack it up. And I would be stressed. I wouldn't want to do anything but sit in and like think about what I could be doing next. So it does consume you for sure. But then you take a step back, you're like, I'm going to let these numbers that aren't real control how I feel about myself and about what I'm doing for fun, you know? So I'm definitely better at that now. I post and I don't really look at, you know, the phone after that.
Yeah, I think it's super important you highlighted that point, because even myself, I let numbers dictate me in the beginning, and then I just took a step back. I was like, I remember when I first posted and 10 views were a ton to me, you know what I mean? But now when you're not hitting that average number, like you said, you had a viral video do really well and it's not going to that number again.
Right.
You're like on yourself, you're feeling down. I'm like, wait, none of this mattered to me a year ago. Why does it matter now?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I didn't even know this existed 5 years ago, whatever it is. And then you start to like, I think what happens is like you get afraid of the inevitable. The inevitable is that you're going to have a lull. Like my lull versus somebody else's lull could be very different.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to feel that. And you feel it enough times, what's going to happen is you either become resilient or you stop, but you get used to it. So like for me, I've seen periods of us not getting the views we want to get. And I'm used to it now, and I just keep things moving. I'm not going to get like hyper upset. Every time like in the beginning, it'd be like this crazy high when I went viral and this crazy low when I didn't. And now it's at this like, which is kind of I don't want to say it's annoying, because that high that you felt when you'd go super viral was really, really cool. I don't get that anymore. So I have to like chase these highs doing other things, which is fine. Like I want to find excitement and fulfillment in maybe things outside of social media, you know?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Because you said you get that high when you first hit those high numbers, viral videos, let's say. But I've had the same experience where like those numbers don't really like, I feel nothing. I remember I was always chasing, let's hit 1,000 subscribers. I hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm like, all right, what now?
Yeah.
I felt like so dull after it. So it really sucks when you're chasing the numbers, because in the end of the day, like we talked about, it means nothing.
It means nothing, but putting purpose on it and finding excitement and enjoyment, it's more like goal achieving. You know what I mean? So like now your next goal is 10K. Like that's when it's less about when you hit that number matching your excitement then versus now, because you'll never match the excitement. But every day waking up with like the sense of, okay, I have to keep posting. I have to keep doing what I told myself I was going to do. And then I achieved the 10K. Great. Let's keep moving to 100K or whatever it may be. But losing that excitement for anything is you don't want that either, you know?
Yeah, I think that's really important that you said that, is continue setting goals. I had to learn that. It was the first time I hit 500 subscribers, I really felt dull. I was like, dude, this is what I did it for. And what I was missing was I didn't set a goal after that. I'm like, all right, obviously, let's keep going to 1,000. Let's keep improving on the smaller stuff that people might not see, whether it's the editing, whether it's the questions I ask, the I'm saying in my podcast. Like, let's just keep improving and goal setting. And then I think that was a little bit different when I hit 1,000. I was happy. Don't get me wrong. Hard work paid off a little bit, but it's like, all right, now I want more. Let's keep going, you know?
I think, honestly, if you're going to goal set, focus less on like the outcome, which would be the numbers, and more on the input. So like what gets you excited is you improving as an interviewer. Like you said, you mentioned that you're looking at how many times you're saying like and And if you look back and you're improving, that's a really good goal that you achieved. You can find solace in that versus the numbers that are never going to feel the way you want them to. But for you, it should be like, what brings me excitement? What gets me going every day? So maybe a goal is that every month you get like a reach guest, like somebody that you never thought you could have on, and then you have that person on. Like that will feel really, I don't care the numbers that episode yields. I care about I did that thing. And that maybe is, or you ask, like you said, a question that stumps the guest, or a question that makes them stop and think and say, I've never been asked that before. Those are things that make you feel really good. That should be more of your goal setting versus the numbers.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I had you on, first time I interviewed Julie, and for me, you guys were huge names. You still are, you know what I mean? You're only growing your reach, but it was so sick when I first, it's sick right now to have you on,
dude,
you know what I mean?
I love being here, really. I really do. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Like I said, anytime, brother. This is like, I tell everybody, I love podcasting because honestly, of all my guests, like I am blessed and lucky to have the conversations I've had.
Yeah.
Because every guest, I feel like I always learn something new. It's always a sick conversation for me, and I just always get to grow as a person as well.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part about podcasting is that you're having conversations with not only people that you would never talk to, but you're having high-level conversations that you wouldn't have with that person if it wasn't in front of a camera and a mic. You know what I mean? If we were talking, we'd be shooting the shit about whatever, but we wouldn't be having this type of stimulating conversation. So it really does pull out a really good version of yourself and also the guest.
Yeah, I had that realization the other day. I was talking to my buddy, and I was like, the conversation we're having right now is bullshit. We're literally, like you said, shooting the shit. Yeah. I had you on the podcast the other day, and we were going in depth about stuff I would have never felt open about talking about other than this setting, which is so funny to see.
It's weird. It's sometimes you get in those zones, you're like, man, this would make a really good podcast. But that's pretty rare. And I think for me, like I've really, and Julian and I talked about this too, actually. He was like, you know what really upsets me is that I used to be a great conversationalist with everybody, and I could talk about anything. And he's like, now I feel like sometimes the only time I have a really good conversation is when I'm in the studio. And he's like, I care less. He's like, my goal now is to make every conversation feel like a podcast. It's hard to do, but if you told yourself, I'm going to have every interaction that I have, stranger or not, I'm going to make it feel like it's a podcast. I have a camera on me and a microphone in front of me. You'll have way better conversation. And it's good prep for this.
Yeah, I definitely need to start thinking about it like that, because one thing, if you've ever seen me like in the gym, out in public, dude, I am so antisocial. I say nothing to anybody, and like my conversations are so awkward just because I'm in my head so much. You know what I mean? So this is my one like safe space where I could just come, say whatever I want to say, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Yeah.
But dude, if that's who you are, that's who you are. You can't. You can try to break out of your comfort zone only so much, and to the point where you got to accept and be kind of self-aware and say, I don't enjoy this. You know, I'll be nice to everybody, but I don't enjoy putting myself out there and talking to random people all the time.
Yeah. I feel like there's a side of me that does enjoy it, and then there's the other side that's like, all right, I'm kind of bored now. Let's go do something.
It's like, what's on the other side of fear? If you're afraid to go talk to that stranger or whatever it is, and you have a really good conversation, maybe that feels good, but maybe you just don't enjoy it. You know?
Yeah. What I've been trying to do is just like when I'm in the gym, say what's up to everybody. And then really slowly I've been meeting more people, and I'm like, dude, I was looking at this guy thinking all this about him in my head, and now he's the freaking dopest, nicest guy.
He's the nicest dude ever. I know. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what's something people think you're confident about, but you still wrestle with privately?
Oh, man. Probably my conversation and communication skills. Like you would assume I'm a podcast host, I'm on camera all the time, that I'm super comfortable with everybody and I can strike up a conversation and be charismatic. But there's definitely conversations that I'll overthink and I'll say things and I'll walk away and be like, why did I just say that? And there's plenty of things that you don't feel like you'll ever get better at. You know what I mean? So I've been doing this now for 6 years, and there's still plenty of times where somebody shoves a camera in my face and I'm like, damn, that was weird. Like, I don't know why I blacked out and said this thing. I didn't mean that thing, and now that lives out there forever and it's gonna make me look bad. So now I'm overthinking that. And so I think you're kind of programmed to be who you are, and you can change like a little bit, but it's very difficult to flip a 180 and be somebody you're really not. So yeah, I would say people probably assume that I'm just super comfortable in front of everybody in public speaking. I would do it, and I got plenty of, like, my buddy Gavin would, he's like a world champ powerlifter. Just
Gavin
one of those, yeah, which is one of the most natural public speakers I've ever seen. Like, can just rip a speech out of nowhere. Like, I was at his birthday one time and like his family dinner, and he stood up and gave a speech to like his family, just like showing love and how much he appreciates everybody that was there. And I was like, wow, he didn't script that, he didn't prep for that. Maybe he did, but it sounded beautiful and it flowed so well. For me, if I had to speak in front of my 6 family members, I'd be nervous to do that. I would say maybe 2 sentences and say, okay, well, that's about it. I'm going to sit back down now. So there are things that you're just not naturally good at. And maybe people would assume that I'd be good at public speaking, and definitely would not be.
That's funny you say that, because I had Gavin on here, and one of the most well-spoken people I've ever listened to.
So he articulates himself so well.
I listened back to that podcast a few times. I'm like, dude, this is so sick. There's certain people you sit in front of them, like Julian's one of them, where his reservoir of knowledge, and when he just pulls out and quotes something, makes no sense.
Dude, I had him on 2 days ago and we talked about, because I like seeing how far I can go with him. So I was like, in our lifetime, we're 30. Who has been the best president you've seen? And he's like, I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but Bill Clinton. And he's like, here's your reasons why. And he listed he's like, I know this, and that about him that are bad, but here's this, and this that are good. And I'm like, how do you know this? You were what, 2 years? I don't even know when he was I genuinely do not know when he was the president and what he did for us. But he listed these things as if he was there. I'm like, what books are you reading? How many books do you consume? And I think it's less about, he probably consumes a lot. It's the retention. He's a sponge. He hears something one time and it's in his brain forever, and he just pulls it out. You know, it's a sick skill. And for you, like we talked about it prior, and for me, we can't sit there and be like comparing ourselves to Julian, because we'll never be Julian. You know, you are who you are.
Yeah, we just have to play into our strengths at the end of the
day. But he is sick.
Has success ever made you harder to be around?
No, I hope not. I mean, you got to ask somebody else that. Like, that's my, I would really, really hope not. I think I've always had this inherent guilt of people expecting me to be like that. Like, oh, he's been whatever. And especially with I'm working with my dad. So if I was ever walking around with this stick up my ass, dude, it'd be so easy to shut that down and be like, you film your dad make TikTok. So it's a very wholesome brand. We have a really good time doing it. I always want to be super generous to people that are around me. I never want to turn people off or away, and I'm very appreciative for what I have, you know, and I'm very aware that if I was doing this alone, it'd be very different. And maybe if I was doing this alone and I grew a following and I blew up, it probably would be very difficult to not have this ego growth. But I'm also older. I started this at 24, 25. So if I started at 21, blew up, that's very young and a huge ego hit for a man that his brain's not even developed yet. And you got people that are coming at you at the bars and asking for pictures and asking for advice. You probably walk around with some sunglasses on and bag your designer t-shirts and chains hanging out, you know? And I've definitely fell prey to maybe some of that. And maybe if you caught me in the wrong moment, maybe I'll look a little bit different and sound a little bit different. But I would really hope that nobody ever feels like success has gotten to me. And I think if you've ever felt like that, respectfully, I think it's more of a reflection on you. Maybe it's a jealousy thing of you're not where. I always tell the story. My cousin, I moved into my apartment at 25, and big size apartment. It's like a corner spot. I love the place, and I love having parties and stuff. And I remember my cousin was my roommate, and he was like, yeah, dude, I was at the bar tonight and we were pretty drunk. He's like, somebody came up to me and was like, you know, whatever they say about your cousin, they're wrong. He's a good dude. And my cousin was like, what do they say about my cousin? So I'm sure there's plenty of people walking around saying some dumb shit, but I don't know.
Yeah. My reaction to that, just for the audience that might have never got the chance to meet you yet, is you're a genuine person on and off camera. You're the same guy on and off camera, humble, super cool dude. So
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? People have this perspective online, because I always tell everybody this. Any negative comments coming to you from social media, those people are not doing better than you in life. I'm sorry to say it, but it's I've genuinely never commented something negative on anybody's post. Yeah. And if I ever even thought of oh, I hate this, I just swipe to the next video. So anybody who has time to comment something negative or be I really don't like this guy, it's just because they're either mad they could never do it or just really got nothing going on in life. You're super busy. You have your own career. You're worried about your own family. You could care less what everybody else is doing in the world.
1,000%. But everybody has insecurities that are unfortunately probably pretty real, right? So everybody has these internal thoughts that are oh man, nobody knows this, but I don't like that I do this, this, and that. The reality is everyone around you wouldn't be shocked if you told them that, right? So I always think about I don't take criticism that well, but I want criticism to learn how to become a better version, right? So
Yeah.
if you sat in a circle with people that are closest to you and genuinely know who you are, and you all wrote on sticky notes like what is really good about John, what's really bad about John, and anonymously put them in the middle. And I had to read this. I didn't know who wrote it, so I can't get mad at you. I'd probably hear most of the same things about what isn't great about John, and I probably already knew what those things are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you could already start working on that. You don't need people to tell you that thing, but when they tell you that thing, especially on social media, take it more of like this constructive criticism. Maybe the dick that you mentioned that like really has nothing going for themselves, but mentioned that kid is pretentious or that kid's a douchebag. Maybe you're acting like a douchebag.
Yeah.
So dial it back and try to change up you and how you portray yourself, to everybody else.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's funny because I had a piece of negative feedback probably a month ago. And it was just funny because the way I grew up, like me and my friends pretty much bullied each other. Like now it would be considered bullying. Like we just every day would make fun of each other, whatever it was. So now that I'm 26, I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
And I take it so lightheartedly. Like he said something really negative, like this clip is shit. You need to do this, this, and that. I messaged him and I was like, "What do you think I could improve on? Like I'm brand new to this. As a viewer, what did you not like?"
Did he answer?
About it? He answered, and he was so stunned that I was nice about it.
That's
but I'm like,
crazy,
dude. I don't take offense to it. If you don't like it, maybe there's people like-minded and don't like it as well.
Yeah,
what can I
that's
improve
great
on?
dude, and
you know
that's
what I mean?
really good and humbling for you to be able to do. Not many people would be able to swallow their pride and be like, "Hey." First of all, it completely shuts him down. Like now he feels like a piece of shit. But you're getting good feedback now. Like nobody else would have said that to you. Your friends would have been like, "Oh man, that's a shitty clip," but I'm not gonna say shit to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you should do way more of that. I've had people years later. I forget who I didn't answer this guy. I left like a horrible, horrible comment on us on a video, and like a year later, it was like, "Hey, just wanted to like reach back out and say I was in a really bad mental state when I wrote this comment. I'm super sorry. I did not mean that." And then I responded. I was like, "Hey man, it's all good." Like I didn't really care. And I know that's how people get sometimes. So, it's all love.
Yeah. It's never that deep. It's just funny because he didn't follow me till after we had our conversation.
There you
He
go.
was like, "Dude, I'm going to help you out." Like, I understand this is year one for me. I am by far nowhere near like a professional. Like the setup is professional. I might portray that I look like a professional, but I know there's so much room for growth, and every day, even 10 years down the line, I'm be growing. So that criticism, it might help me instead of being like, "Oh, fuck this guy."
Not might, it will.
Yeah. Like even the trolls, I will say, I have to hold myself back from not trolling back because I'm like, I don't want to set my brand on negativity. You know?
That's a really good point, but like there isn't anything wrong with contention, and like if somebody's saying something just to say it, like this dude's hat is shitty, that's different. You don't answer that. But if they say like, "Oh, I don't agree with what he just said," and you want to have a little bit of banter in the comment section, that's fine. I just had somebody on the podcast. We had the guy, Dr. Joseph Doring, who's a psychiatrist, and he's very anti-medications, very anti what is going on as far as like patient and doctor relationships right now, which he probably should be. And I had somebody comment, and they were basically like, "This guy's," I forget what the word they used. It's a quack. This guy's a quack. He's RFK's right-hand man and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just because somebody doesn't agree with what you feel is right doesn't mean they're a quack. And I was like, our depression rates are up and our drug rates are up. So how are you going to tell me that drugs are working, right? Like clearly something is missing here.
Yeah.
And they didn't answer. So like I have no problem saying that. I'm voicing my opinion on the podcast. I will be cordial to you. I'll have a respectful conversation. I've had plenty of times where I've wrote out like, "I will ragdoll you. I will murder you." Like, but then you don't, because you got these people in the comment section that are like, "That kid looks like a douche. I would love to slap the shit out." And then you're like, okay, I want to answer back, but then what, like you said, what does it do for my brand? That's horrible. That's a horrible look.
What was the biggest lesson you got out of that episode?
With the doctor?
Yeah.
Wow. That was a really good episode. It was very long. Biggest, you know what I got? Is that I bet most doctors feel the same way he does. And I bet most doctors aren't quote unquote bad, right? Like I think people have this stigma that anybody in a position of power is like evil and corrupt and all I want is money. And like, here's a guy, right, that wants to, and I asked him the question, I was like, what is wrong with the system? He's like, it's just not set up for doctors to make money and be advantageous to their patients, right? Like they got mouths to feed, they got to put food on the table. So they got 15 minutes with a patient, they got to rip through it. Like they probably have plenty of conversations where they're like, wow, I'd love to take this person to the side and really talk through what's going on with their life, but I literally do not have the time to do that. I got to focus on me and mine. And so I think I changed my perspective on what most doctors and professionals probably feel. I'm trying to think of like another lesson that we really pulled from that. A lot of it reaffirmed what I already thought, right? Like that drugs aren't always the answer, because the drug thing for mental illness has always been like this weird, I've always had a weird relationship with that, because I was very anti-drug growing up, and I was like, you're just a pussy and you got to get mentally tougher. And then I dealt with maybe my own, depressive thoughts, and seeing people with true depression, and watching people with, suicidal thoughts and people dying via suicide. They're like, whoa, your world opens up. Like maybe it's not just a mental toughness thing. And then you see people on medication, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's not as simple as take drug, get better. And it's also not as simple as get mentally tough, get better. Yeah. So now it's super, super complex. And I know there's definitely time where drugs are beneficial, and there's definitely times where you got to take a step back and be like, I'm on 10 different medications right now. Something is not working. I have to change. So I think it just opened my eyes and kind of reaffirmed my beliefs, but then also gave me more knowledge and the information to present to other people when we're having these conversations. So I love talking to people that are super smart, because I'm not that smart, but I love to ask questions. And then you learn, and you feel like you're learning, and then you may not be able to retain it in the moment, but you'll be able to pull that in a conversation where that certain topic gets brought up.
Yeah, that's sick. And I laughed in the beginning because that's honestly exactly how I thought when I was younger. I was like, dude, what are you, mental health? Like, stop being a fucking
stop being a pussy.
Baby. Yeah.
And then you deal with real life problems. You're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, you go through your own shit. I'm like, I understand it. You know what I mean? To an extent, I think you shouldn't rush to get medicated. Like, try to do it. Like, go to the gym, go on walks, whatever helps you. I can't tell you what helped me is going to help you.
Yeah.
But I stay away from medication as much as possible. Like, I think we adapt to our natural environment. So it might even be down to like the foods you eat that really aren't helping you. It's like going out and touching grass. I tell these kids now, because like my cousins who are in high school were telling me they're sad. I'm like, dude, when I was in high school, I was touching so much grass. It wasn't time to be sad. It's because you guys are in here playing Fortnite all day, like doing nothing else. Like, just go do something with your life,
Yeah. We talked about the diet thing too. And that's one of those things that people don't really want to hear because they're so fixated on their lifestyle and routine. So if your routine is eat like shit, be super sedentary, play video games all day, like numb your brain, and now you feel upset, and somebody's like, it's your diet and your lifestyle. They're like, no way, give me a pill. It's a hard transition from like, okay, I have to look myself in the mirror and be like, I am fucking this up. Man, it's I'm trying to think like more about that because it really was a good eye-opening experience for me, and the diet stuff too is huge, but you don't want to stop. You become obsessed with what you enjoy.
Trust me, I get it. Like, I'm a fatty. I love my McFlurries. I love my 20 pieces, but it makes me like my energy. You just could tell is down completely. Even a brain fog up. It's funny because I had my boy on last episode, I believe, 2 episodes ago, and we kind of like clickbaited a little bit, but not really that much. And we were just like, kids are fat now because of their parents, and people went crazy on YouTube. They're like, this guy's talking. I'm like, my boy's in shape, but I just let him go at it in the comments. And it's hilarious. Like, you can't bring up the word fat and eat healthy around anything in social media. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm so open-minded. So sometimes like hearing people argue about such dumb things, it's like, I don't get it at
Nobody
all.
wants to hear that they're wrong,
Yeah. Especially when it comes to things like that. Like, I don't know. Do you think momentum is addictive?
Yeah, I think that's where like people get success super, super wrong. It's like the cart before the horse type of thing. Like they want effect before work, So like you want the success, or you want to feel the motivation before actually doing anything. And that's a really, really dangerous place to be, because now you're waiting for momentum and motivation to then drive you, but you need the work to then drive the motivation and the momentum, So it's like this, I'm definitely big on momentum, even like the smallest bit. If I get dull and bored with content, I then become super, I lack creativity. I'm like dull. I get bored. I don't want to say depressed because I don't get depressed, but you don't care anymore, you know? Whereas like you need one good, exciting, fun video to do, and then that gives you and sparks the creativity for another really cool video. And now the snowball is rolling. But people that kind of wait for the motivation and the momentum will always sit in this place of not doing anything. And I think a huge issue is people will say these things out loud, like I'm going to do this thing. And then that gave you the dopamine hit that you were looking for, and then you never have to go do the thing. You know, like you're good. That satisfied your need. And then somebody asks you about, oh, did you start that podcast? And I'm like, oh no, I have this, and that going on. Instead of just going and doing it, and then you'll achieve the dopamine hit that you actually deserved. But that's especially online, like people are just going out and saying things for no reason.
Is there any metric in social media and creating content that you think you care about way more than you should?
I mean, honestly, I will look at optics only because I care about what brands think, right? Like, so I this is a business for me. I'm not looking at my views saying, oh my God, people are going to think I fell off. I'm more so, okay, we're hitting our minimum view count. If a brand were to go to my page right now, it looks pretty healthy. Like I would pay these guys to sponsor or promote our brand. That's the only thing I care about. So I'll look at like views. I think that's like the biggest thing, where like I know that brands look for a really good ratio from like engagement of likes and comments and shares and all the things that I know are super important to them. I think I have a pretty healthy relationship with that. I don't necessarily care. I mean, there's like things that piss me off that we don't always do the best with. And I'm like, okay, I have to get better at that thing. So this is just like specific for us. Like our audience is very male centric. We have like 85% are all dudes. All my DMs are gay men, and that's pretty much it. But our click-through rates aren't phenomenal, right? So like link clicks aren't great on stories, or purchase orders after posting aren't great because not most of the time women are buying things online, right? So those are things we can improve on, and it's frustrating to have all these followers and get all these views and then look at a link click and it's like 3 clicks because guys don't buy things, you know? Yeah. So stuff like that I have to care about, but rightfully so. I think I have a pretty healthy relationship with that.
Yeah, definitely sounds like you do, because we talked about views earlier, and just your thoughts on views and how you take it in really sounds healthy.
I say that now, but there's plenty of times where I'm like, if I have a dry streak, well, that's I think the benefit of being on so many platforms. So like you have things that you, I mean, I do hyperfixate on things a lot, and like where my attention goes normally performs better than not, right? So for example, right now the TikTok platform right now is all over the place for everybody. There's no consistency, and they just had this whole thing come out with, I don't know what I signed, but there's some sort of transition of power, and the algorithm is going to be a little bit different. So I've lost attention to TikTok for the last year and a half. I don't really care. I genuinely post a video. If it gets 10 views, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Now my focus is Instagram. So if my Instagram videos didn't perform well, I'd be very pissed. But I just saw a video on TikTok perform well. I went, whatever. Now my focus is back on TikTok. So having multiple platforms gives you this solace of like, okay, if TikTok's not performing well, at least Instagram is, or Instagram isn't, but at least YouTube is. If all 7 weren't doing well for me right now, I'd be like, okay, let's take a step back and figure out what we have to do. But having at least options to focus on helps you in the moment.
Yeah, I could definitely agree. The one thing I lack in is that TikTok, though. I'm not going to lie, I have a terrible relationship with TikTok. I'm not going to say I hate it anymore, but there was a point in time where I'm just like, all right, fuck you, TikTok. Like there was videos that were hilarious that I'm dying at, and I don't laugh at much. And I'm like, this shit has 2 views, under 10 dude. For real.
I know. Well, you got to realize too, like people get upset about that sort of stuff, and it's right. You should. There are so many. The difference between TikTok and these other platforms, people are creating content at a rate that these platforms have never seen. People are ripping 30 videos a day on an app, and they're 6 seconds long. That never has happened. Instagram, it does not happen. It didn't even happen on Vine, and they were videos 6. So this pie that you all get a slice of, your slice are so thin. So yeah, your chance to go viral now versus back then are so small.
Yeah.
But I do notice they tend to give momentum more than other platforms. So you've posted a video, go viral. The odds of the next video doing well, if you stay within that theme, are pretty high versus other platforms don't. Like YouTube doesn't give a fuck. It does not. Your last hit does not matter. It matters what you're doing right now, and rightfully so. Like you could have an episode for your podcast blow up, and the next video can get 100 views.
Yeah,
it's like the most frustrating thing. Whereas TikTok seems to be a little bit different.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that. I actually, when I stopped TikTok, it was August of this previous year, and I stopped for a month, and then after a month, I go back on just like scroll and mind and like sit on the toilet scrolling, who knows. Right. And I'm like, dude, why do I have so many likes, follows? I started blowing up. One of my videos went viral for me.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, damn, I already quit. You know what? Like my mind was already made up. Let me focus on Instagram and YouTube. You know,
you should get back on. You just start posting, bro. You never know.
Yeah, I have
one video,
to.
like, because one video could change, and you know now followers are following you on Instagram and YouTube. You never know where someone's gonna find you.
Yeah, I genuinely have to. I don't know. I had a terrible It's scarred me.
Yeah, listen, if it's gonna fuck your mental state up, then maybe don't do it.
No, now like I'm at a point. I'm at a point where I don't care about anything. I just genuinely have to post. It's literally that, just posting.
I would do it.
What changed about you the first time real money showed up consistently?
Whoa. What changed about me? I think we talked about the ego thing. I think that was definitely one of those. It's money. They say is like the root of all evil, you know. And there's a reason, and it's not that you're destined to be this like evil person if you have money, but it is very difficult to keep yourself in check when it's thrown at you in a short period of time, right? So I remember it was like. So 2020 was the first year we started posting, and we'd make like a couple bunch of bucks here and there. That was really cool to see. Like people are paying us to promote their brand. Like this is ridiculous. And then 2021 is when I started to track and make actual money. And March of 21, I remember we made like 20 grand. And for me, I was like, this is crazy. I'm rich, you know. And I would have to keep it in. Like I would hold it in, but I wanted people to know. But I didn't want people to know. I wanted people to ask me so I could be like, oh yeah, I just made, which is so stupid. But it gave me definitely like validation. Oh, this is serious now. Like all these delusions that I had are coming true, and I can really double down on this. So it was definitely a driver, but it was something that inflated ego a bit. And I think I did a good job keeping that in check. But once that happened, and then more money came in, I was like, hey, I was poking people to ask me the question, and now I would never do that. Like I had that really, really in check. But yeah, I don't think it ruined anything for us, for sure. It didn't change the content or anything like that.
Do you think it's just a part of growing up in general? Because I feel like
we're
a little younger,
and
it's the first time you're ever seeing money. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, I was 20. I guess I was 25 at that point. So like 20 grand in a month, I was like, there's no way this is happening. And then you make more the next month and more the next month, and it's just like, it doesn't feel real because it's numbers. Like you're not my lifestyle wasn't changing. I wasn't doing anything differently, but the numbers were growing. So I think it's definitely it was a metric for me. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, oh, now I can retire my family and put food on my table. I was living at home, you know. Whether I was broke or not really didn't matter. I guess I could spend more money at the bar or like invest more money. It was more about that. It was just like, okay, this is now becoming something serious.
Yeah, just funny to me because people see it from the outside looking in, and they say, oh, this guy has such an ego. This guy has, like, he's a dickhead. But it's like, how many 25-year-olds are exposed to $20,000 monthly, you know?
And you know what's funny, man? You hear these numbers online and you're like, that isn't even real. Like, that doesn't happen. And then it does happen. And I remember, so 2021, again, first year, like, we made money. It was the summertime, and my cousins were like, so, like, what do you do for a job? And I was like, this? They're like, what do you, no, like, they're like, well, what do you, like, do you like, does like Uncle John pay for your life? I was like, do you know? And that's where like I didn't get offended, but I was like, do you know what we do and how we make? And they're like, what'd you make last month? And it was a really good month, the month in like July. And I said the number, and my cousin she was like, shut the fuck up. There's no way you guys made this much money posting. And I was like, yeah, I could show you if you want, you know, like I was just being honest with her, but that's what it wasn't an ego thing, but it was more like I have to provide some sense of reality for these people. And then that gave me a sense of like, oh, this is pretty crazy. So numbers and money will hurt you if it comes in doses and you don't know how to control it, versus like when it comes a little more consistently and progressively over time. So like right now, there's not a number, I don't think personally, that would hit my bank account that I would be like a changed man, other than like maybe some things that I would do. Maybe I'm driving a different car. You would know. There'd be signs, but I wouldn't be that much of a different guy.
What would be the go-to car? Let's say if you got like $1 million.
I mean, I always told myself I'd like to have a Bentley. I don't know. I like the G-Wagons, right? Because the problem with like low riding cars, like sports cars in New Jersey, you can't drive them. They have a bunch of potholes and shit.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even. Yeah, I'd probably get a Bentley. Like I wouldn't get a Ferrari around here. A G-Wagon. You can't get a Rolls Royce without a driver, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Unless I like the Maybachs. The Maybachs are really nice, dude. It's better for the people in the back though. So again, I'd probably have to get a driver for that one too.
Drivers are expensive.
They're expensive, and so if I'm making buco money, then yeah, probably a driver with a Maybach.
Dude, that's insane to me. I couldn't even imagine.
Which is one of the, like I don't have goals of like cars that I've aspired to have. I definitely have like a vision of what I want my life to look like and have like goals to achieve. But I've never been like super big on I need to drive this because there's so much that comes with that. You know what I mean? Like now you're this douchebag that you're young and you're driving this car and people are gonna be like, well, you shouldn't be doing that, and how did you make all that money, and you must have been doing something that was wrong, and I don't need any of that nonsense. You don't need the unwanted attention.
Yeah, when I was younger, I had like a dream of having a 10-car garage, and now I'm a little bit older, and I could care less. I genuinely I don't want the attention. Get me in a Prius, and
just keep things moving.
Tinted Prius, if anything.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge car guy either. Like I like cars for sure, like surface level, but I'm not deep diving into the models and the makes and what year this was and this year's better than that. I don't care that much.
No, I'm a huge car guy.
Oh, you are?
When I was in high school, at least I used to be. Me and my buddy would literally just sit watching YouTube videos of like all these cars. I'm like, I'm gonna have that one, and then I got to the point where I could afford what my dream car was at the time. I was like, I don't even want it. There's no way I'm wasting that amount of money on like a depreciating asset. I'm driving it and losing money.
The funniest part about cars is like the nicer the car, the less they depreciate. So it actually is like an investment. If you bought a real nice car, you're almost better off when you sell it to maybe net even, you know what I mean? Versus you buy a shit car, you drive the off a lot, you're losing money for sure.
Yeah.
But a good rule of thumb is like, if you can't buy two, don't buy one.
Yeah, I feel like definitely not buy two at that time.
Anything.
I could just buy
watches and clothes and bags. Like, if you can't buy two of them on the spot and feel comfortable walking away, you should not buy one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
This is a question I actually wanted to ask. That do you feel closer to people now or more isolated than before?
I think there's definitely moments where you feel, I mean, I don't know, it's hard, man. Like my buddies that I grew up with, right? I don't care what they do and how much money they make, and if they're motivated and they're living out their dreams, like that doesn't bother me if they're content with it. Like, I want to see them doing well and I want to see them happy. I don't need them to be doing these things to have a genuine relationship like I've always had, but I will say you do become bored, like with normal, I hate even saying it like that, but people that have regular jobs, sometimes you don't resonate with and you get very complacent, and then you have a really good conversation with maybe somebody that's in your space that's killing it, and now you're on, and I make sure now to have those conversations more often, because I need a kick in the ass sometimes. Like if all you're doing is trying to compare yourself to people that are average, then like you're never gonna really, really move the needle. So for me, I fell into that place where anytime I felt like I'm not doing enough, I'm like, well, look at most 30-year-olds. Like I'm definitely doing better than them, right? And I stopped caring about it. I remember one time I told a very successful guy, and this was again early with the money, and I was very excited to like indirectly tell him how much I was making. Like, oh yeah, we did this, and that. And he's like, you compare yourself to your people your age way too much. He's like, why are you comparing yourself to 26-year-olds? Like, why does that matter to you? And I was like, because it makes me feel good, like, honestly.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it shouldn't, like, what are you talking about? And that really smacked me in the face in a good way, because I shouldn't be comparing myself to anybody but me. And then you see people that are around your age that are really, really crushing it. They're up every day. And that's who you need to be talking to. It gets, I don't want to say it gets lonely, but you just get bored. And then you feel, you like fall into this place of complacency. And it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that a bit. And I just asked that for a person. That's not even for the audience, because I just, I found myself in the previous year, like, distancing myself from my friends. But it was because taking a look in and then taking a look out, like, I felt like they were complacent. When people get into their own careers and they're just striving to get either a raise, like, everyone's going to get the raise at the end of the year. You're going to get the promotion in a few years. So I just feel like I was already in that route, and they're not aiming for where I want to aim to. Like, let's say I want to go to the moon and grab stars, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, but then I took a step back. I'm like, that's also okay. Like, I got to make sure I'm continuing my relationships, because you probably know more than anybody. It's like when you're just editing videos, when you're just recording videos and don't get a chance to talk to many people, like, you could drive yourself insane.
Dude, for sure. And I think I remember being your age. I mean, 4 years is a big difference. Plenty of times where I did feel like that. I was like, this is a waste of a conversation. They don't want what I want. They're going to drag me down. But now I appreciate people for who they are. And it's very easy. So all of my friends seem to strive for more, right? Whether or not they achieve more, I don't necessarily care about, but you can learn. Like, so maybe my friends that strive for more and achieve more, there's reasons. But maybe my friends that strive for more and don't achieve more, I know very easily why you're not achieving what you're achieving. I don't have to say it to you. I can if you ask, but I can keep that mental note to keep me in check. Like, wow, like we said before, he said he was going to do that thing and never did it. And that's probably why he's not where he needs to be, or he has a really, really poor relationship with himself, and his self-talk is horrible. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to make sure that I only speak positivity to the people that are around me and the man in the mirror. So, like, there's things that I think everybody serves a purpose, but you can't fault somebody if you know who they are. And I've been big on that. My dad's always said that to me. Like, you can't get mad at your friend for being an asshole if you know he's an asshole. He's your friend. You got to take it for who he is.
It's funny you say that, actually, because I used to get so mad at one of my friends. Like, I wanted to push him to do the podcast with me, push him to stream, whatever venture at the time I wanted to go on. And he was always so happy with being complacent and not striving for more, even though I know he's like, he can be a genius, he can be so entertaining, and he just never wanted more. And now there's days where I get jealous that he's like that, because I'm like, he's so happy being himself and being in the position he is. Yeah. And like, I drive myself insane, suffering at times because I want more. And I'm like, damn, I just wish I could be happy where I am right now, It's a gift and a curse to have the mindset that you have, and it's not going away. Like, you were given that, so stick with it. Like, don't ever feel like, oh, maybe I'll just be happy being complacent. You'll always chase and ask what's more out there. So unfortunately, that's just how you're wired. But I watch people all the time, and I'm like, wow, it must be really nice to make a living. You work your job and you go home, you kind of live for the weekends, you enjoy the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and you don't really care about anything else. That's a very content feeling, and I always wonder what that's like, and you may never feel that, honestly. I honestly, and you saying that's probably one of the scariest things I've ever heard. Like, living for the weekends. Like, when I explain what I'm trying to accomplish to my friends or anybody I know, I explain it as I want every day to be the same, in the sense of, I know I'm going to get up, work, and strive towards goals and be like motivated, and like, not genuinely motivated, because there's days where I'm not motivated, but disciplined and love the game enough where I get up and do it anyways. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, man. I don't want it to be like, oh, it's Friday, I get to stop and I get to just do whatever. Like, no, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, you name it, it's the same day for me. I'm grinding, I'm having fun, and I'm loving what I'm doing. Yeah. And that has definitely transitioned in this previous year, and it has been freaking amazing, because I remember going through the 9 to 5 and being like, it's Friday, I get to go out Saturday, and then Sunday I'm already nervous because I know I had to go to bed early and go, like, that was so mundane to me, and like I said, it's scary. It's
very scary, but for the one, like, I'm not chasing, like, that one day must feel really good. When it's Friday night and you have no work for the next couple of days, I don't know what that feeling feels like. But then I think of myself, every day is Friday for me. So why am I envious of that person that can relax and have a beer and not have to worry about waking up the next day? Like, I can do that every day if I wanted to, So I've always thought about that, but then kept myself in check. I'm like, dude, you're living the life. Like, what are you talking about?
Bless, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think there's anybody that ever resented you for doing better than them?
I don't know. I think like never anybody like that was super close to me that I was like shocked, like, oh, I heard him talking or they said something to my face. I've had some friends like jokingly be like, oh, you outgrew us and you're better than us, and I'm sure they felt some of that resentment towards me. I'd be very shocked because I always, any success that I've seen, I want to share it with the people that are around me. So again, if I'm throwing a party and it's in my apartment, everybody's drinking for free. You know what I mean? I'm covering bar tabs. I'm going out and we're going out to eat. Like, guys, I got this. Especially in the beginning. You get touched with money. The first thing I did, I was too generous. Like, I should be paying for your $1,000 dinners right now. You know what I mean? You guys are good too. You guys got plenty of your own money. So though I almost made it known where I'm like, I want to make sure nobody feels like I'm becoming better than. So if you felt resentment I think what happened in the beginning, so like COVID was a weird year. So like maybe you didn't see me in person that often, but then you kind of see me online and people are coming up to you saying, oh, you know Johnny Drinks? That's crazy. I could definitely see that, like almost angering you. Like, what do you mean Johnny Drinks? I knew him when he was John and he wasn't shit. And, but then I think when you like saw me again and like I showed you love, there's no way you're like, wow, that guy's a dick. You know, you're probably like, wow, I was wrong for even thinking those thoughts. So I thankfully, I've been blessed, seriously blessed with a really good group of friends and the ability to make friends. I think I've always been a good friend. I never thought twice about it. And so I only surround myself with people that are bringing and adding value to my life and vice versa. So yeah, I don't feel any resentment towards anybody, or I don't think anybody feels resentment towards me.
That's amazing. I kind of wanted to transition it here a bit because on our first episode, we talked about your faith and your relationship with God. Is there something you question about God that you still wrestle with?
All the time. You know what's funny, man? I actually think that God wants all of us to be original thinkers. He wouldn't give us a mind if he wanted us to be programmed to just follow and be, and I don't mean this ironically, by the book. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of things. If you're a believer of Christ and God, and you don't read something in the Bible that makes you say, I don't know how I feel about that, then I think you're way too you're way too just, I don't care, I'm gonna follow the directions that I was told. And sometimes I envy those people that like that can read the Bible and say what's word is word and I'm gonna keep things moving. But I'm a curious and I'm a skeptic sometimes. So I think that was the mind that God blessed me with, and he likes that. Like he enjoys when he sees me wrestling with these feelings and these emotions of like, I don't know, man, I don't know how I feel about Moses splitting water and throwing his staff down and turning into a serpent. Like these are things that just do not make sense to me right now. But I always at the end of the day leave it up to God. And I say, listen, if it was written down and I'm supposed to read this book and take every word as it is, then it is what it is. Who am I as a man on this earth to tell you, God, that you're wrong? You know, like I think that's super egotistic. And I say that I love having religious debates because at the end of the day, there is a level of blind faith. And I'll open that. Like if you're going to have a debate with me and try to prove me wrong and vice versa, or want me to prove you wrong, and that's not going to happen, right? I do acknowledge that it's going to take a level of faith that if you don't have it, you don't have it. You know, I can debate little things about why I think it makes sense that we are creation and we came from a creator. Like those are all personal opinions. You can think that we came from nothing. You know, we came from this Big Bang theory and that creation was made from non-creation. I don't think it makes sense. If you do, I guess go and run with it. I'm not in the business, especially right now with the knowledge that I have of converting anybody that doesn't want to be converted. You know, so my cousin and I are roommates and he's very open to the idea of a higher power and God, but he's like, I don't care. I go about my day. When I talk to myself, you call that God. I call it talking to myself. And I'm like, that's fine. I think we're doing the same thing. I think we're both putting the same energy and love out there. But if you ask a believer in Christ, the most important things to be doing as a person, it's loving your neighbor and loving God. I think everybody can get behind that. What love looks like is very difficult and different sometimes to grasp because it's easy to say, way harder to do, especially when you get busy and distracted in life and somebody cuts you off and you want to flip them off and yell at them. That's not love. But if you can really, really start a channel and say, I'm going to live like Jesus, what would Jesus do? Like as corny and goofy as that sounds, he wouldn't be yelling and he would be empathetic towards people that are suffering, and he would want to help. So I question a lot, but never in a place of like, you know what, God's not real. You know, more so like how I'm so intrigued by this, and I can't wait to get to heaven and ask him these questions, you know?
Yeah. Do you think success has made your faith easier or harder?
I think people like seeing successful people religious because you're like, oh, like, see, like, it worked for him. It must work. That's not even close to the truth. The reason why I have what I have, or whatever you want to call the success, is not because I believe. I think belief has actually made my success difficult sometimes, because I'm like, I grew up with this idea of what success looked like. It was like money and fame and whatever. And then you achieve these things, you're like, I did it. And then you read the Bible and you're nothing, and you get humbled. And you're like, well, wait, I thought all these achievements made me somebody. And no, that's not what makes you a man. You know, what makes you a man is, like we said, loving yourself and your neighbor and God. And oftentimes doing things that other human beings would not perceive as successful, you know? So I wrestled with that and that feeling of guilt of like, man, I thought I had it all figured out and now I don't. And now I think the hardest transition for somebody that maybe was a believer but really wants to dive into their faith is that their actions aren't changing overnight, right? But your knowledge changes. So I know now what I'm doing is wrong. I'm not changing my actions, but now I know. So now I'm just guilty about it, right? Back in the day, I used to do whatever I wanted to do and I'd be happy. Yeah. So you're like, why did I sign up for this? This is horrible. Being a Christian is not easy. Everybody says it. Like, it is not easy to be a religious person in any means. But like, that's part of the journey. And what you see on the other side makes it worth it because it is true. But if you sign up for this thinking your life's going to get better overnight, and this whole thing of like spiritual warfare is very real, I don't think it's like you announce that you are a believer in Christ and now the devil attacks you harder. I think people like to make that story and create that narrative because it sounds a little bit cooler. I think you become more aware of the devils or the demons you were wrestling with, and you never realized they were demons, you know? You're just more aware of a lot of things going on.
Do you think discipline can replace faith, or do they need each other?
Can discipline replace faith? I think you could be disciplined without. I mean, it's hard though. Like, I think you maybe have faith and you don't realize you have faith, right? So if you're disciplined, what is discipline? Discipline is doing what you don't want to do, right? So like, I was mentioning it on the podcast with Julian. People always associate bodybuilders and people that are fit with being hyper disciplined. They may not be. They may enjoy going to the gym. They suck it up and eat the meals, but they may not be really good partners. They may not be really good family members. They may not be really good friends. That doesn't mean, just because they're disciplined in one aspect of life does not mean they're disciplined individuals. So being a disciplined believer in Christ is doing things you don't want to be doing all the time, but doing because you know you have to do it. So if you're a disciplined worker, what does that look like? You have to have a faith and belief that this is going to profit in some capacity. And I'm not just talking about financially, but it's going to the outcome is going to be better because I'm doing these things. If you don't have that belief and have that faith, why would you be disciplined? You wouldn't do it. You know, if I didn't care about being fit, right? And I do. Why would I spend my time being disciplined, eating foods I don't want to eat, and going to the gym when I don't want to go to the gym? You don't have to. I watch plenty of people be very average and eat whatever they want, and they live pretty cool lives. So like, I know when I care about that, but I also have the belief, and I don't have to see it to know it, that if I do these things, this thing's going to happen for me.
Do you think your competitiveness ever cost you peace?
I'm competitive. I'm not competitive like Michael Jordan competitive. You know, like, I don't need to beat you at everything. I actually, sometimes I'll use the excuse of like, if I lose, I'm like, you know what? I made somebody else's day really good. So like, I don't ever let competition get in the way, but I do think that competition does drive, especially men, and I can only speak for men because I'm a man. I think competition is so healthy for men, and men need to compete more. Like, you got to have somebody that's like your gym enemy. You know, like, as goofy as that sounds, or somebody at work that's just working harder than you, and maybe you don't got to tell them, but like, you know what? When that guy shows up and he's here working hard, I'm going to work harder. He doesn't have to know it's because of him, but I know it's because of him. Because sometimes you don't push yourself as hard as you know you can go.
It's that healthy competition you have.
Has to be, dude. Yeah. And so I've never, but it's exciting. Like I love the thought of I'm at where I'm at right now with content and whatever on social media, but like let me look at people that are also doing really cool shit. You know what? Maybe I don't have to beat him, but he gave me the spark to keep moving. And so like if that's competition, great. Doesn't mean that I want to see him lose. This isn't like a zero-sum game. It's not me 1, you 0. So I use that as fuel, less of like, haha, I got you beat. Yeah. I don't want to beat you because I see you doing bad. I want to beat you because I'm doing really, really good, but that doesn't mean that you're not doing really good as well.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, I've noticed that when I go to the gym with people stronger than me, I lift heavier weights, and I continue to
100%.
lift heavier weights and get stronger. When I'm playing basketball, when I'm sitting in front of you and talking about podcasts, like this is what I can improve up. Learn from the game and just like healthy competition, keep it going.
You don't want to beat me because I suck at podcasting. You want to beat me because you're really, really good at podcasting.
And the same for you. Like since I think you're really good, I'm like, dude, let's just keep going at it, see the numbers grow together.
It, 100%. Exactly.
What conversation do you hope people take from this episode? Like, what conversation spark from this episode?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I don't try to be motivational. I don't try to be anything I'm not. I don't think I have excitement for what I do. I like to, if you're inspired by what we do, if you're allowed to take a step back from your hectic day and enjoy the content we're making, I appreciate that. I hope they become better versions of themselves and maybe they take the leap to go make content. Like if that's what you think you want to be doing, I can only speak to that. I think it's weird, honestly, when people find success in one thing and it could have been luck straight up. And now you are this like philosopher and now you're like telling people how to live. I don't know how you live your fucking life. Go live your life the way you want to live it. But if you feel motivation because you're seeing somebody that you resonate with, and I always say, and it's not a slight on me, like if I can do this, genuinely anybody can. I'm not that special when it comes. Again, you look at a guy like Julian, and I know we mentioned him a lot this episode. You see him and you hear him talk, you will say to yourself, wow, I don't have that. I think you could see me and say, I got what it takes. If he can do it, I can do it. So I hope you leave this episode knowing it's possible. It's not that hard to do. I think content creation is very, very possible to make a business out of it. There's a reality to this and it's very real.
I absolutely love that you said that, just because that's one of the reasons I started it was because I'm surrounded by so many amazing people who I think would make great content and make a huge business out of it, better than I would, honestly. Yeah. And I started to motivate them. I'm like, dude, if my quiet ass who's awkward, who doesn't say shit on a regular can do this, you can too. Like I made my first $100 on YouTube the other day and I'm like, awesome, this is freaking sick, dude.
You have 1,000 people subscribing to watch your content. That's you put 1,000. I know that's like that. If you put 1,000 people in this room, you'd be like, there's no way all of you want to watch me.
It goes back to the public speaking. I would be shaking. Me personally,
if you got 1,000 people you got to talk to, you got to every day.
A few tequila shots before I stand up there.
100%, dude.
Yeah, it's sick to see, and I love that you said that because I mean, I think that's also why you've done so well. People can like relate to you in a sense. Or like in one way, he's just a normal guy. Like he's a chill dude. Like I love seeing this content. I feel like that's the content that's really blowing up nowadays. Yeah. It's not the super mega stars like the Kardashian, the A-list celebrities that can't relate to regular people. I feel like they're so far gone. Yeah. But seeing your content's like, dude, this is me and my dad. This is what people are saying.
Yeah, to see. Well, and I think also, man, like you got to realize even these people that are performers on camera and then you meet them in person and they just have this like energy that's like abnormal, they appreciate realness. So I can't tell you how many people I've been in a room with that are like so over the top with their content that they can take a deep breath and be like, wow, it's actually nice to sit and talk to a normal human being. It's like you could take the stress off your shoulders for once. You don't have to feel like there's a camera on you 24/7. Everyone's a real person. Everybody has a real version of themselves in there. So if I can bring that out just by being my authentic self, there's been plenty of moments where I felt like I had to walk in a room with other maybe creators that are bigger than me, or at the time they were bigger than me. I had to like put on this front of being super extravagant and outgoing, and that's just not maybe who I was in the moment. Being real now has actually paid off more than trying to be somebody that I'm not. Everybody knows that that's who you're. I'm telling you, people are worse actors than you think they are, you know?
Yeah, I truly believe in. I think that's like a big misinterpretation in the content space in general. People, even myself, prior to starting, I'm like, these guys are so huge. Why would they ever sit in front and talk to me? Like, they don't give a fuck about me. And then sitting down, having these conversations, they're just regular people.
We're all
you
people.
know what I mean? And I love that. And it makes it realistic for the audience listening. Like, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to start content and network and connect with people, they're just going to be people like you. You know what I mean? It was just one day they picked up their camera and set it off, you know?
Most people, and that's the coolest part about content, is most of us are normal humans. You know, like, and if you're not, and if you feel above sitting and having a conversation with somebody like you because you don't have as many subscribers as me, you are the one that needs a reality check, not you.
Definitely. If this version of you met the version of you from 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah. You want to push it back a little
more?
It.
Honestly, bro, I haven't changed, but I'm 30. So, like, 28 to 30, I don't think I've changed that much. I think my goals have just gotten a little bit bigger, and maybe I've, like, gotten myself in check. I'm more religious now. And, but, okay, well, actually, I'll do that, and I'll go back. So, me before, it's hard because you don't know who you portray, right? Like, I know I'm way more faithful and I have a better understanding of the religion I follow. And maybe me at 28 would be surprised. Like, wow, you don't care about sleeping with 1,000 women anymore. You don't care about making all this money to be super flashy. You don't care about the things that really do not matter. But you do care about your family a lot more. You do care about the relationships you have with not only your friends, but strangers. And so I think I'd be really, maybe I'd be shocked, but also like a little bit proud. But maybe I'd be like, that kid's a fucking loser. Like, he has nothing. He's got to strive for more or whatever. But if you took me at 17 or whatever it is, like really, really far back, like way before any of this, I think I would be so happy that I'm doing and living the life that I always knew I should and could be living, but had this insecurity that was holding me back, right? Like, when you're young, you're like, I'm going to make something of myself. I remember high school, you had your superlatives, right? And it was like best looking and funniest and drama, whatever. And there was one that was most likely to succeed, and I wrote myself. And I meant that. And I could have been the only vote that I gave myself, right? But I meant it. I don't know if I probably put that energy out there, and I never knew what I was going to be doing, but I always knew I wanted to be different. And life gets in the way, and I think sometimes people don't expect your confidence to waver. Like, you expect it kind of just always to get better and better because you learn about yourself. But at 17, like, I was super confident. You couldn't tell me anything. I was playing football. I was wrestling. I was in high school. I was the man. And then life smacks you in the face, and like, you feel like this ego death, and you're like, whoa, I'm not shit. But living out the life I've always wanted to and believed I could is a really, really cool thing. I think at 30, at 17, I'd be like, wow, that's a really cool and inspiring 30-year-old.
That's so sick. I want to cut it there because I know you have a...
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but thank you, brother. I just want to thank you for coming on. I mean, it's been... Our first conversation was amazing, but this one's been even better. I fucking love it. I mean, I literally pray every night that all my boys that I've met through content, through this space, and even in my personal life continue to do better. I watch your podcast all the time. You're fucking killing it.
Oh, thank you, bro.
To see your growth and consistency, man, to see you just grow also in different spaces has been amazing. Yeah. I wish the best for you, and thank you so much for taking your time and coming out here today, man. I truly appreciate it.
Seriously, anytime. And I wanted to say it in the podcast, but I didn't. But you are getting so much. I mean, I don't know when, maybe a year ago, you are 10x. Seriously, like, with your preparation and how in the moment you felt, and there was zero anxiousness or awkwardness, and you were just your authentic self. You are leaps and bounds where you once were, man. So keep moving, and you truly do have a talent for this stuff.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it, brother. It means a lot.
100%, dude.